Hi, my name is Virginia Valencia, and it is my pleasure to offer you this session on mental prep to ace sight translations. So, what we're going to be covering today is first the technique of chunking, which will go a long way to helping you get to the next level on this mode of interpretation. Then, we're going to do a meditation before a sight translation, and that has the purpose of you being able to set objectives, you being able to prep your brain to focus. And then we're going to put these techniques into practice with an actual sight translation. If you ever want to use this video to just meditate and center yourself before doing a sight translation, you may use the chapter of this video that deals specifically with the meditation and then go ahead and go for your sight translation practice. So let's talk about sight translation. Of course, we mean an oral rendition of a written text in a different language. So when you're provided a document or any sort of text that you have to render into another language. The most important advice I can give you for being good at sight translation is to always read the document first. Some people think they're saving time by jumping right into the interpretation and skipping the first read, but that just ends up costing you more time later. So read the document fully and read the document carefully. Okay. And try to shut off your inner interpreter. Try to pretend you don't even have to interpret this. Your only goal in that first thorough read should be comprehension. Once you have completed the first read completely, then you're going to silently reread in chunks and interpret each chunk out loud. This is the second step after reading. So, what exactly is a chunk? It's a portion of a message that expresses a full thought or part of an uninterrupted idea. So the whole point of a chunk is that you get a segment of a message and it doesn't interrupt the flow of the thought. So chunks are going to let you suspend your interpretation in strategic spots that are not going to interfere with the flow of speech. No matter how good of an interpreter you are and how seasoned you are, you will have to pause your interpretation in certain spots to read ahead, or in this case, reread. So you might as well place those pauses strategically. So these pauses will allow you to silently reread the upcoming text so you can remind yourself and grasp that meaning and have it fresh in your mind before you begin to interpret it. Therefore, chunking decreases your false starts. You're going to not have those instances so much in which you begin interpreting, realize you made a mistake because you're reading and seeing, oh, I hadn't remembered this part, and then you have to back up. And that wastes time and makes you sound very unprofessional. So chunking also increases the accuracy and the fluidity of your sight translations. And again, I've seen this technique work miracles for people. So I want you to try it, and I know you're going to love the way that it organizes your pauses in sight translation, and it makes you much more fluid and much more accurate. So how can you identify where a chunk ends? It is often indicated by the following punctuation marks. You might see a comma, a semicolon, a colon, a period, an exclamation mark, or a question mark. So it's also a good idea to stop interpreting or to pause your interpretation to read ahead where there's a natural pause in the text, even if there's no punctuation mark there. So it doesn't mean that because there's a punctuation mark there, you have to pause, or that you can't pause in places where there are no punctuation marks. You're going to pause where you notice that this is a natural pause in the text or a punctuated pause in the text, and I'm going to be able to render this full thought without interruptions. So let's see chunking in action. I want you to read the following text, and I also want you to apply the strategy of visualizing what you read. So I'm going to display the text. I want you to pause the video, read and visualize everything you read, and resume the video when you've completed the reading. Awesome work. Now we're going to identify the chunks in the text above. So take a little time and try to see where you would say, this is a chunk. And I could stop here and silently read the next part so I could begin interpreting in segments. Go ahead and try to identify the chunks, pause the video, and resume it when you've completed this activity. Good work. Now we're going to move on. So there are multiple correct ways to chunk this text. I'm going to share with you one of the many ways. So it goes like this. I first saw him across a busy street. Stop. So what does that mean? I've already read this full text once, and the chunking is the second step. So that means I'm going to reread that first part silently in my head. Once I reread it, then I open my mouth because it's fresh in my mind and I interpret that chunk out loud. And I would move on. I'm going to show you. So I first saw him across the busy street. Here I would pause. I would read this ahead silently, and then I would open my mouth and say, and it was love at first sight. Then I would put my bottom lip and my top lip together. I would be quiet again, and I would reread this now silently. Once I've reread it and it's fresh in my mind, then I would open my mouth and interpret. So I'm going to go ahead and try it. If your language combination is not English, Spanish, I will be pointing where I am anyway, so you can see the segmentation. Here we go. Lo vi por primera vez al otro lado de una calle transitada y fue amor a primera vista. Nuestras miradas se encontraron y él caminó hacia mí, cruzando sin siquiera mirar, y casi lo atropella un carro. So I'm finding strategic spots where I'm quiet, rereading that text, and then once I'm fresh and I know where I'm going, then I'm opening my mouth to interpret. And that's why chunking is so powerful, because it helps you have that certainty when you open your mouth. So I want you to pause this video. I want you to voice record yourself, and I want you to silently read each chunk and then open your mouth to interpret it out loud. Go ahead and do so now. Awesome work. Now I want you to play your recording to compare it to the text to see how faithful you were to the original message. Go ahead and pause the video to do so now and resume it when you've completed this activity. Beautiful work. Now we're going to look at an awkward chunk. So this is the reason why chunking is so important, and it makes you look so professional, because you're pausing in strategic places that allow you to read ahead and not sound like you're interrupting the thought. But what happens if I don't pre-plan my chunks and then I am interpreting and I have to stop halfway to say, where was this message going again? Let's hear how that would sound. I first saw him across a busy street, and it was love at first sight. Our eyes locked, and he walked over, crossing without looking and nearly getting hit by a car. So this is what it sounds like when you don't plan your chunks and when you don't decide, okay, this is where I'm stopping to reread ahead. So again, even if you're the best interpreter in the world, you're going to have to pause. So you might as well place your pauses strategically. So now let's move on to the meditation part. So why do we meditate before a practice? It improves your concentration. It sets your mind to be focused. It allows you to set specific goals. It calms your nerves. So you train your brain to say, every time I'm starting a practice, I'm starting from this tranquil place. And it preps you for success. So it's very, very powerful. I urge any interpreter that wants to improve their concentration and their focus to meditate, especially before an interpreting practice. So most people tend to think that meditation means you're going to go to a gym to meditate, or you're going to go to a yoga retreat or be in nature, but that doesn't necessarily have to be the case. You can be waiting for your case at work to begin. You could be at your office. You can be commuting during using public transportation in a busy commute. You can be preparing for your exam at your test site. So your breathing and your meditation is available to you anytime, anywhere. So take advantage of this. Plus, it's free. So we're going to meditate to set certain goals. Your goals should be realistic and achievable, specific, and very modest. I learned this from teaching with Athena from Athena Sky Interpreting. She's an awesome teacher. And one of the things that I learned with her is that students should set very, very specific and modest goals, because If you set too many goals at the same time, it's going to overwhelm you and you're not really going to end up achieving any of them usually. But if you decide that you're going to focus on a single goal, you're going to see much better results. Of course, this means you have to forgive yourself. This means that you're going to be aware of the fact that your other skills are not going to be perfect for now. You're going to let that go and you're just going to focus on that one specific goal that you set yourself. So I'm going to suggest a few goals for you. And of course, I want you to choose the one that is most relevant to you, but it'll be one single goal. When we do the meditation, we're going to visualize you accomplishing all of these goals. But when you start the practice, I want you to hold on to that goal that you've set for yourself. So these are some examples of goals that you can set for sight translation. The first is having reading comprehension, being very present while you read and being able to understand that message. Another goal is the chunking, that technique we just covered, the rereading in segments to then interpret out loud. And then another goal is the confident tone. So fake it till you'll make it, sound like you know exactly what you're talking about. This is one of the 3 goals I suggest. I'm going to suggest more. I want you to keep them in mind to choose the one that is most pertinent to you. Another goal can be to be quiet when you're hesitating. So when you find yourself going, uh, mm, put your top lip and your bottom lip together, breathe, reread ahead, and then start interpreting again once you're sure. This makes you sound much more fluid. Another goal that you can set yourself is when you are quiet, when your top lip and your bottom lip are together and you're rereading a chunk, take that opportunity to breathe through your nose. That allows you to calm your nerves and get your nervous system to be nice and alert, but calm. And another one is visualize. Okay. So I want you to bear these goals in mind and I want you to pick one. I'm going to review the previous one. These are the 3 goals you can set for yourself, or you can set one of these 3 goals. But I want you to pick one. Choose your goal now, and that's going to be the only thing you expect of yourself. If other things don't work out as well, that's quite all right. You have your goal, and that's what you're focused on. So the more you practice, the better you get. So we're going to put this meditation and an actual interpreting practice in action to help you get this under your belt. So if you feel comfortable, you can go ahead and close your eyes. If not, you can just continue watching the screen. Make sure that you are seated in a comfortable position, and we're going to get started. As you inhale, visualize yourself in front of the text. As you exhale, you are focused. As you inhale, you're understanding what you're reading. As you exhale, you're visualizing the message. As you inhale, you're going to reread the text in chunks. As you exhale, visualize yourself with clear diction every time you open your mouth. As you inhale, I want you to smile because you're accomplishing your goal. As you exhale, I want you to let go of anything that doesn't serve that goal. Inhale, forgive yourself any mistakes you make. Exhale, fake confidence and push through. Inhale, you're feeling confident and calm. Exhale, your rendition is clear and crisp. One more time, let's inhale, seeing you successfully interpret, and exhale, you've completed this short meditation. So now we're going to put this into practice. I'm going to display a text. I want you to pause the video and read the full text with the only goal of understanding it. Very good. Now we're going to move on. I want you to pause the video, and now you're going to voice record yourself. You will silently reread the chunk. You've already read it the first time, so you're rereading, and then you open your mouth to interpret that chunk out loud. Make sure you voice record yourself. Pause the video to do so now. Very good. Now I want you to pause this video, listen to your recording while you compare it to the text. This is how we see how accurate you were. Go ahead and do so now. Beautiful work. Now I want you to repeat this interpretation, the same exercising, pausing the video, recording your interpretation, and listening to it until you are proud of your work and you see that it comes out of your mouth in a fluid and confident fashion. Thank you so much for training with us. Keep putting your best foot forward. Remember, you can accomplish anything that you work hard at, and I hope you accomplish all of your goals. We're here to support your dreams. Have a beautiful day.